Yeah, I still don't have the intro, but I'm gonna. I went to a destruction derby a few days ago because I live in the boonies where they do that. It's kind of sweet, and it was
Yep.
super loud. It made my ears ring. But I saw and I got some footage of like cars just like bam, bam, and everyone's like, yeah. I'm like, I'm gonna make that my intro. I think.
Okay, you should, because that is definitely who you are.
Yeah. So I don't have anything yet, as the chat knows. 9 people watching, by the way. So I just click go live and it goes live. But everyone, I'm here with Adam Lawson. How's it going, Adam?
Hey guys, boom.
I made the title and I was like, I want to give Adam like a compliment in the title. I'm like wonder indie wonder kind. I'm like no 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 no, and I couldn't think of anything, so I just did the Adam Lawson, like capital THE. And part of that I think is because you're making moves. That's all I was gonna say too. Making moves. The guy making moves in the indie scene. So
We've got to make moves, right? Or otherwise you're going to get lost, because it seems like every minute there's a new campaign. There's Alex. There's the man, Alex. The
Alex.
because he's the number one backer. He can get the number one backer spot on more campaigns than anyone else. But yeah, no, is because you have to make a splash or you're going to get forgotten pretty fast. Right? Because there's so many people diving in, and sky's kind of the limit, and so it's either kind of now or never, right? And I think you kind of have to push as much as you can to get yourself out there, and also to we're not getting any younger, so you got to go as hard as you can while you can.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking is, by the way, I think it's going to load any second. It's being slow, so we'll just wait. But I have your campaign is going to pop up here in a second.
No worries.
But I was thinking of marketing, and it's like, one way to kind of think of comic book marketing is like any idea is a good idea, but you got to do stuff. Like people, like, can you get on streams? Can you like do giveaways? Can you do like memes and jokes? And like literally anything you can do, everything helps. Nothing is bad. Any new schemes. One of the ones that helped a lot, or was an interesting one that you did, was you collaborated with Wesley Snipes.
Yes.
Yeah, and that was super cool.
Yeah, no, I mean that was my way. With the Exile book, I collaborated with Wesley, and we had this is some of the cool variants. A metal cover. It's pretty rad. That they did a whole pile of variants for this massive. Well, they were at the time called Whatnot Publishing, but they changed the name from Whatnot Publishing to Massive. Yeah, no, I mean, and I brought along a bunch of us from this camp here into it, right? Like Preston Acevedo did a whole series of covers for the book.
Yeah, nice.
And we sold, over 100,000 copies so far, and we have one more issue to go, and we've, it's going to go to trade paperbacks as well. So it's been cool. In fact, Preston's covers are the number one sold covers.
Yeah.
On this book.
He's what is he like? He's like our modern Bisley. He's like literally like as good as Bisley was in the early '90s, and he paints them all by hand. The originals are all existing in the real world.
That's exactly right. All the colors, and it's quite wild. And I had Rob Willis do a cover, right? So this is the number one sold cover, because obviously it was the A cover for issue 1.
Yeah.
And Rob Willis did an amazing cover. So so I brought along a bunch of folks with me too, when I got the publishing deal. And Wes has obviously been a great partner, and so's been my publisher. When you think about an indie publisher or a new publisher that only been in business, I was their 4th book to launch.
Right? Yeah, so I'm very interested in this subject because I looked them up because they announced they're publishing Sean Gordon Murphy's indie stuff. Yeah, and then and so that made me look them up, and I look at their website, and then your stuff's there. I'm like, oh man, you're like working with Sean Gordon Murphy, your same company. That's cool. And then I look at their Twitter, and they only have like 200 followers, and I'm like, they're new, they're like brand new, but they're jumping on the scene, so it's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, they're new to the game. It's 1 year in, and Heavy Metal's publishing through them. They've got this deal with Tyler Kirkham. Sean Gordon Murphy's jumped on. But here's what's pretty wild about it, Narwhal, is, if you were to publish through Scout Comics, for example, that same book probably would have moved like 3,000 to 4,000 copies.
Mm-hmm.
But we moved 100,000. The amount of like small publishers in year one that move 100,000 copies of a single, of a single book that's a brand new IP, that's not Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's kind of insane,
Yeah. How's that
and-
experience been going through? Is it they go through Diamond and you go through them? Like, are you working with Diamond at all, or in general?
So they're a traditional publishing relationship. I turn in the book, and in this case, because we have a split deal with them versus like a upfront deal, right? So I pay for the book, I create the book, I art direct it, do everything, letter it, the whole package, and then hand it to them. And then Michael Calero over there, he does an editing pass with me, and maybe there's a couple of tweaks, or mostly it's just like, hey, Adam, it'd be more clear if that was moved, or just some like it's a few hours of fixes, like a couple hours, and that's it. And then we go to print. And so it's really a cool relationship. And then it's a split, so you're both invested, both wanting it to do well. And so that's kind of the nature of the relationship. And the fact that they've been able to hit these kind of sales numbers is pretty unheard of, particularly for a new publisher. It's kind of insane. So they're up to something, and they've been able to lure Sean Gordon Murphy over, which is kind of crazy. He's stepping away from that.
Yeah, he's still like maybe I feel like I get like the celeb vibes from him almost more than anyone else. Like there almost isn't really that in comics these days, like where the comic artist as celebrity, and he's like one of the last ones. If
that's correct. Yeah, there's probably really
Mark Millar could maybe count for that, but he's like a little older and behind the scenes kind of thing now too.
Yeah, well, Millar is, he's also just a writer. He doesn't draw.
Yeah.
So there's only a few guys left, like a few guys in this game. Like I think that like James Herron or Daniel Warren Johnson is in this place.
Yeah.
Sean Gordon Murphy is here in this place. But there's really just a few guys who really bring this much, and that are they're an auteur, they're a writer artist, so they're a more unique. They're a cartoonist, I guess what you would call them. Really, that's like the Eisner that.
Daniel like Johnson, the tradition of like Frank Miller and Eisner and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, but I agree with you. Like there's of like the there's the old time celebs, but of the new, Sean Gordon Murphy is certainly a leader in that pack. And so he's an incredible piece of talent to bring over. And that says a lot right there. And obviously his book Plot Holes, I loved it. And so they're really doing cool things.
Yeah, I noticed I wanted to read Plot Holes, but I missed the campaign. And I had to buy it on eBay, and I paid $40 for it. And I was like, damn, there's a market for Plot Holes. Obviously, like a publishing deal could be made. And then shortly after that, I saw the massive thing. I'm like, that makes sense, because you don't want it to just sit there. And even I thought that for myself. I'm like, what amount of sales? Because there is something to convenience of time when people are in the mood to back. They need to be able to back when they feel like backing, rather than being like, oh, I'll make sure to make a note that when it's available again in 6 months, that I have the money prepared.
You're never going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like just making that convenience there. And even if that's an eBay store, I've been like, note to self, really got to get that stuff going. Cause I have like 5 books at a time that aren't available, and people are always asking me about them. So I'm like, oh, I got to figure this out. That's why I was like, I need a wife and children who will work for me. Does that work in the modern era? Like the traditional family, but slave labor, basically? I don't know.
It can. You just need it. You're just behind a little bit, so you're gonna need about 10 years.
Yeah, I got to get the kids because they can't really work until they're 10. Yeah. Nice. So
that's the ride of that. I agree with you. I think that like getting yourself in a place where you either have a publisher or you have a partner who can connect you with Diamond, can build out a relationship there. Because I think that there is the larger portion of people who buy comics want to go to the store and they go to the comic shop and they buy something, right? There's this, like we sold 100,000 copies of The Exile that way, and I sold 1,500 on crowdfunding. So there's a pretty
Yeah.
big disparity in number of people. Now, those people are paying $4 and the other people paid 50 and they got this really cool thing. Obviously, there's a different level of collector, but for something to have a life, it needs to hit as many regions as you can, right? Because you want something to reach enough of a zeitgeist with the audience that it continues on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Versus just dying after the launch. So, but and the Kill Journal, as we're talking about it here, is one of those things that I'm trying to give it life, right? So this is my first time to continue a series, right? Because I've done 4 series, but it's always a new storyline.
Yeah.
So this is actually a standalone one shot in the world of the Kill Journal, which for anyone who doesn't know it, this was the original graphic novel, which you can get on the campaign. It's only $15. It's 132 pages. It's awesome. But this is a standalone
very
one.
simple campaign. It's the original or the new one, and then if you get the new one, you can get this one as an add-on. So you can get them both. So and that's it. Yeah. And then there's shirts available as add-ons and patches and maybe one other thing.
And then a rad patch. Yeah, we got this cool patch.
Yeah. Real quick. So by the way, we got 17 people watching. Thanks everyone for being here, hanging out with Adam Lawson, checking out the Kill Journal, the complete Finch dossier. This is part of the pitch that I realized I wanted to share this because I noticed Adam is always promoting and talking about other people's books. And check out this number, 251 contributions. You should be proud of that. And that should definitely help. I wonder if anyone's on the fence about supporting Adam, like he's in it to win it. And one thing is this gives you an awesome like lay of the land too, just as a businessman, the fact that you're like jumping in so much. And how has that been? Is that like, because this is only in like 2 or 3 years, right? That you backed this many.
Yeah. So I'm in now, I'm in 3 years now on it. And so I'm just trying to think, it's 251 times 35. So yeah, so like probably a bit more than that. So I'm like over 9,000 in, to backing other people's campaigns.
Yeah.
Because certainly some I've done more, so it's maybe more like 10,000. So I've spent a lot on that, and the plus there's also Kickstarter campaigns too for people as well. Like I think one is I love supporting other people's work. I love getting them in the mail. I love opening them up. Like I just finished, I just got, this guy, Tiger Blue, and I got your book here, which I'm excited to read. I just finished Cave Slave.
Sweet.
Last night. And I read Fiendish. Whoops, that's not Fiendish. It's Nemesis.
Nemesis. The new Nemesis is cool too.
Dude, this is unbelievable. Anybody who has not read this is going to blow your mind. It's so good. But yeah, Fiendish.
Yeah.
I just read Fiendish. My buddy Ryland, who's also another, who's a TV screenwriter, movie screenwriter, his book, The Jump, I just read the other day. It was so good. And then this guy Terror in the Trenches from Vaughn.
Hell yeah.
And I love it. You know what I mean? I love seeing what it is. Not all of them are great. In that sense, some of them are wonderful. Most of them are kind of middling, and some of them are not so great. But I think the thing about that is like every one of them though comes with a lot of heart, right? You can tell this creator put their heart into it, right?
Yeah. And
there is something quite meaningful about that. Even if they didn't hit the mark, they gave it their all, Yeah. I
agree. Part of what the indie scene is you're kind of looking for those gems, and then you find those, and then you have the extra special relationship with them too, because it can sometimes be too like no one's even like like tweeting out like whatever, like Miley Cyrus is like, this is my favorite book, and then 100 people back it. People are just kind of backing whatever kind of appeals to them, and then you read one and you're like, oh my goodness, this is really something. For me, I had that experience with, it's a book called Disintegration Street, and it's like a manga sized book, and it's like Scooby-Doo meets Silent Hill. and the fifth edition is out now, and it's like if you put them all together, it's like that thick. So it's like real manga, like super long, kind of fun, goofy but serious at the same
Right.
time, like a weird tone. But that one, I was like, I can't believe I just randomly found this while crowdfunding, and then it kind of that's the extra special relationship that can come from it too. That's kind of fun with the indie stuff.
I know that's right. Like there's something extra special. There's something extra special that happens when you find it that way, right? There's something cool that you're like, oh, dude, I found that. Like there's this book I found that's now in retail publishing. It's called Good Boy, which I found crowdfunding. This is
Yeah.
now floppies that are in store that I got crowdfunding. This is, the first issue of volume 3. I loved this book. I freaking loved this book.
Yeah.
And now it's my my jam, and I keep ordering, and I love it. And I also buy a lot of books on Instagram because I get ads from like Mad Cave and Vault, which are other publishers that are smaller mid-tier publishers that are doing some really cool stuff. And so, anyways, enough of that. But that's, I think, I'm soaking it all up, and I try to read as much as possible. I try to read at least a book a night.
Yeah. Yeah, you're in the same position as me, or even more so. But I was thinking the other night, I was like, man, today I read like someone submitted me a script, and then a book that came in the mail. I read that, and I was like, I'm reading a lot of stuff, but it's all weird stuff that no one else in the world is reading almost, and that alone is like kind of fun. That's like getting your pulse on the indie scene, and it is like valuable. And you're doing that, like it's just like a good businessman, but like you say, it's like this is just what you like to do too, so it's not like you're overthinking it really.
And I know Michael Bancroft was talking here in the stream about how he just learned that Axe Wheeler John existed. I backed that book. It was on Zoop, and
Yeah.
and that's just one of the coolest guys, Nick Pitara. And when you look at those pages of what that book is, you just like can't wait for that to show up on your doorstep. Anyways, but yeah, totally a cool thing. Yeah, so that's what it is, and so I try to contribute as much as I can, and I'm always trying to talk about other people's books as well as my own. But I think that's what's cool about this is we get to create together in a special way. But
Yeah.
for Kill Journal, for this book, it's a standalone. It's 28 pages plus there's an additional story in it for another book coming out called Jawbone Death, which I've been poking at for all this time. For the last year, I've been talking about it, and it's gonna be in there, the first 8 pages of that. So this is Jawbone Death.
Whoa.
Right? Pretty
Is
dope.
that's Warren Johnson, is it? Or...
No, that's Jason Krager.
Okay, cool.
Who did Jason Krager did my art on the first Kill Journal story. And yes, it feels like some Daniel Warren Johnson stuff. And when he works traditionally, you can see how incredible his art is.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty dope.
Oh, yeah. Now that's real special. You got something there. That's like some Kirby even style there or whatever. I don't know.
Right?
But I hope the chat appreciates this. I'm sure they do. 20 people watching, by the way. But yeah, this is kind of crazy. That's like, there is like a tipping point too, where if I don't know, like I guess you can kind of feel it. Like it's like when you're starting to get, if you're working with an artist, you're starting to get art, and you're like, oh, this is arguably the best stuff out there. Like then that's right. Like an exciting new turning point, kind of.
Yeah, cool. That's definitely it. And I feel like Jason, he and I have done now. He did a story for me on The Exile that was 43 pages. He and I have done like almost 200 pages together. And I feel like these pages for the Jawbone Death that are going to be in the back of this are the best pages he's ever done.
Yeah,
no question.
I love how you can even see the shininess of like the black marker where he's coloring it in just the traditional medium. Yeah. There's
nothing like when you hold a traditional page in your hands. It's like holding gold. It's like there's a lucre about it. There's this like intoxication. You're like, wow, this is the real thing. I can feel the work poured into this page. Hello, Eric Weathers, good man there. And I freaking love that. And so that's that's how Maxi Dallow works as well. He's a traditional artist, and who did my work here on the Kill Journal. And Mike Spicer did the colors, who is the amazing colorist for Daniel Warren Johnson. He's my favorite colorist in the game, and you can see it here. It's funny when you look at the cover because it's a foil cover. It's going to be foil. It's a foil. They're going to be numbered, and they're going to be signed, so they're a true collector's item, right? And like when you go into a comic shop and you get the 1 in 25 or the 1 in 100 or 1 in 10 cover, it's like $20, and it's just a regular single floppy. Let alone this is foil, signed, and numbered, so it's like the rarest collector's item, and it's the way to kind of give back, to you guys, that this is going to be the ultimate, because this is going to go through mainstream publishing later on, but you guys get it first, and what will probably be the most valuable edition of it.
Yeah, because you did that before, at least on one other. It was the one with Vaughn, Psycho Killers. It does the 500 limited edition release, then like more traditional publishing after that. And I think that's a great idea. Yeah, you've got a cool system going on. Can I ask you, what did with Massive? Did you just have the Wesley Snipes one, which was like a pretty nice, like powerful book, and you just kind of went to them with that and they said yes, or how did that go?
So they reached out to us after it got announced in Deadline that it was going to be a thing and the crowdfunder was going. They came to us, and so we really liked their momentum, and so we went that direction, and we're really grateful we did. But that's how that worked out. I think obviously, once again, the partnering, it wasn't my name that got them excited. It was clearly Wesley's initially, but now that's opened that door into mainstream publishing. And I mean by mainstream, I don't mean that it's, like Marvel DC. It's just that it's going through the traditional avenues of bookstores, comic shops, hobby comic shops, and then ultimately bookstores for the trades. But this is the Kill Journal is the world of slashers and survivors, or in this case, revenants. This is a story that happens after the horror movie ends, right? And the survivor is just left, in the mud and blood and don't know what to make of their lives. And so they end up on St. George's Church doorstep looking for answers to this horrific trauma, and he provides them with one. He offers them revenge.
Cool.
And so you have these essentially trauma survivors in the pursuit of revenge and trying to like heal themselves in this violent world, And so this book is done. It's ready to rock. This is already the printing proof. And then what's being added is these pages, which are also done.
The cute child.
Yeah, hey buddy. And so not that one, not that one. This one. Yeah, don't want to. Yeah, I want to get this one. But
don't let the child spill ink on that traditional art. That's
like I'm trying to avoid him taking those pages. But yeah, so that's what this story world is, and this is so if you read this, it teases up. There's a little mini story in there. Hey guys, 1 second here.
Okay. I'll talk to the chat for a second. Yeah. So guys, 23 people watching. Thanks everyone for being here, talking with Adam. This is fun. Like I was saying, Adam, he's making those moves, moving and shaking. He's based out of Hollywood. His day job is like a Hollywood job. He's like a filmmaker, director, journeyman, just TV shows, everything, which is really cool. Writers and everything. And then he's doing these like passion projects on the side, these comics, and he's done some board games. So yeah, it's cool to have him here. I'm glad people are hanging out. We call it the Narwhal Nudge if we get any backers while we're talking. So definitely everyone consider thinking about it. I say too, I don't know if I'll maybe at the end I will update it, because if I update it and it doesn't go up, that means the angel died. But sometimes
the death of an angel.
Yeah, the guilt from that will actually get you backers too, because then the people are like, oh, the angel died, maybe I will back. And I'm like, well,
okay, maybe I'll do it.
you should have backed in the first place and saved the angel. But yeah.
Right. But yeah, these pages you can see are beautiful. It's Maxie, Maxie and Mike Spicer. This combo for me is just can't be touched.
Yeah. I love too this pitch. I love that you just hold it in your hands and can show it. That is cooler than just scrolling the images on screen. Partly, it lets people know just inherently that it's done.
Yeah,
Everything's done and ready to go. So this
yeah.
probably
These
will
are
be fulfilling pretty fast then, right?
yes, like with Psycho Killers. So I'll put in the print order just a few days before the campaign ends.
Yeah.
And so it can go out almost right as the campaign ends. It'll the print order will come in, we get it signed, and within a couple of weeks. And then for these guys are already printed as well, so it goes right out.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Sorry,
Cool.
1 second, Norma. 1 second, buddy.
No problem. Yeah, take anything you got to do. Like we're just kind of hanging, and I can talk to the chat. So let me see, everyone. Yeah. So um, we're hanging with Adam. What we might talk about is like even just some writing stuff. We might have Adam sooner or later on the creative block. Um, has Phil been talking to you about that at all, Adam?
No, he hasn't. But I Phil and I are working on a book together, and I love Phil, and he's one of the best.
Yeah, we
So
we were gonna try, and it depends on your schedule and everything, but we're gonna try and have you on the creative block sometime because we've been doing that. Me, Rini, Phil, and Jake have been doing this like creative style YouTube show and just talking about like storytelling, writing type stuff. And what we've noticed too is every week we do a different like thing. Like we did on Phil's channel last week, we did anti-heroes. We ended up talking for 3 hours about anti-heroes. So it's like you can go deep on anything, and there's infinite things to talk about, which at first you don't quite think. Like, oh, I've told this story before, but a funny little anecdote about like YouTube in general is Brian Edward Hill, who he's a great writer and he's kind of in the mainstream. A few years ago, like 3, 4 years ago, he kind of saw the writing on the wall and he's like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And a few people were tried that, and everyone was kind of thinking we're a little skeptical. We're like, it's not just like you can stroll in like you own the place and you're going to get a million, like 100,000 subscribers or whatever. YouTube just doesn't work like that. And so Brian Edward Hill did one video, and it was called Story Structure, I think. And it's a 15-minute video just talking about story structure, and it was a great video. And I watched it, and I really like enjoyed it, appreciated it. But then he didn't do any videos after that. And I'm like, that guy, he just he had one idea for a video and then he couldn't think of anything else to talk about writing because he was going to do his channel on writing. And I was like, note to self, like, do not just talk about basics. Like you can get deep, you can talk about weird stuff. Because YouTube is all about like content, I guess, which that's kind of a dirty word, but that's just the way it goes. But it was funny seeing Brian Edward Hill just flame out after just one really good video, but just one video. And then he's like, I can't do it. I can't do it. And Sean Gordon Murphy was kind of like that too. He was doing videos for a while and I was enjoying them, but he just kind of quit. He might start up again when he's promoting Zorro, but I don't know. So Zorro comes out like next year and it's through Massive, which is the same company as Adam, that's kind of, we were talking a little bit about that, but I think it's kind of fun that Adam is like in the same company as Sean Gordon Murphy right now. Cause Sean Gordon Murphy's top of his game. We were saying he could, in some ways we kind of make fun of him sometimes, but he's like legit, like maybe the best artist alive or best artist writer alive or whatever right now, which is kind of fun.
He's pretty spectacular. I mean, I love what James Heron was doing with Ultra Mega. I don't know if anybody read that. Dang,
I just got someone randomly recommended that to me, and I haven't read it yet. But
out of this world. It is out of this world, yeah. And he's another guy doing it all on his own. And I think that I know we were talking about. I know my child is supposed to be. Anyways, long story, as anyone who has kids knows. Sometimes I just don't want to be with a sitter. But yeah, this I feel like with this, I think no, you get it too. Like people are pouring their hearts into these indie books, and I feel like, yeah, once again, showing it like this on the stream, you get to see like, hey, here's the pages of the book. Here's what makes it awesome, right? Here's what you're going to get to hold, right? It's
Yeah.
done. It's real. And then, this, all Kill Journal books open with this question: are you a victim, or a survivor? Right. This is the question being asked.
Nice.
And so, um,
That's kind of a prescient question, actually.
yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, which I think this is the theme of our story here. Which one are you going to be? Is
Mm-hmm.
one of these two, and that's what these people are trying to figure out, is which one are they. There's also another thing we're doing in the book as well to throw back to the backers. Not only is this a collector's item, it will be numbered, signed. There's going to be a secret code hidden in the book, and there's, in fact, the website will be coming up shortly here. I've partnered with this company called Gas Pack. So there's going to be a code in the book, and when you get your copy of the book, you read it, and then you got to read it and find the codes, and you'll put it into this website, and you'll get a free digital collectible, or NFT, as some people call them, and that will be an exclusive piece of art that will be in motion, and then you'll get invited to this Telegram, private Telegram chat, where like all the behind the scenes stuff and giveaways and art auctions happen. But that's another way, because what's cool is you'll also have a digital collectible that you'll get for free, but you can also sell it on the market. So it's another way to like give back to people who come on board for the campaign.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds cool. It looks amazing. 20 people watching chat. If you back it, let me know too, and say like update it or whatever, because then I'll update it, because I'm scared of killing an angel. But what the other thing we say is, even if, like, God forbid that you don't get a backer this very hour, we're getting new eyes on it, and then viewers come in. And the way it does seem to work is that people see it 3-4 times, then they back it the fourth time, or they back it on closing night or whatever. And I don't know. Do you have a plan for the closeout night yet, in like Bancroft or anything?
I don't have a closeout stream sorted yet. I think somewhat as you kind of figure out some people, you agree to do streams with, and then they have to move or you have to move it. And so it's kind of play it a little bit by ear.
Yeah. Because it's a little bit like, you got to go with, and everyone kind of understands this, but you got to go with the biggest offer. Like, if you're like, sorry, it's the closeout, I got to go on with Ethan, and everyone's like, oh, okay, so that's
you're right. You got to go wherever you can go to kind of connect with the most people, and not saying that something that group of people that might be smaller doesn't have any meaning. You just only have so much hours in the day. But I'm grateful for every backer who comes on. That is for sure. And one thing I'm going to try to do with this, anybody who ever on the stream who might have backed The Exiled, is that one just unfortunately by virtue of art delays and problems, we got so far behind publishing. But I'm not going to do that ever again. I'm going to, anytime there's a campaign where there's a publishing pathway later, the content's going to all be done so backers get it earlier. We just unfortunately just fell wildly behind on art, and it just, and then publishing train had to keep going, and then
everyone does that the first time, I think. So, and it's even like, shoot, who was it? It was the Red Rooster, Mitch Brettweiser. They did it like under a huge light, so people still are kind of a little angry with them about, because they got the Walmart deal, but they gave the books to Walmart before the backers. But and people were complaining, about like books being a year, 2 years late. And I have a reputation, because I'm like, you all have everything done before I launch it now. My reputation is like, very trustworthy, fulfilling right away, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, nobody remembers that my very first Earthbound campaign was like 14 months late, I think. And I'm like, you can continue to forget everyone, or just don't remind anyone. Let us all forget. But it's just, we all learn as you're going, and it's like kind of crazy. It's kind of fun what we do, I think, and that's another thing, that it's an advantage just to not be intimidated by the process of like self-publishing, because that's a lot of artists are, and that's like, it's like a disadvantage even on the negotiating table or something, where they're like, I don't feel like having to do everything myself, so I'll just let you do it, and we'll do everything. We'll pack, ship, print, organize the print file, all the promotion, streams, blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
No, I know. That's, we're one-man bands out here. But you can see that T-shirt there too. I love this T-shirt. I almost always do a t-shirt with my campaigns. I think actually I've done them with all of them. I'm wearing the one for the 8. And I love this one so much. We did one with Psycho Killers as well, Vaughn and I. And I love this one a ton. I think it's embodies this, and it's such a badass t-shirt. Um,
Yeah.
but
Oh, real quick, sorry, Jay. What's up, Jay? Jay, you should have Adam on sometime. Jay does great interviews, and so they're like archival interviews. Like
oh,
he'll
that's
ask you
bad.
he's like, so what, where'd you go to high school or whatever? I don't know.
Yeah.
But oh, so, and then I got a hot tip that we can safely update the campaign. So let me see where we go. Look at that, 2 backers. So it's gone up 2 since we've been talking,
Boom. The
and we'll get.
narwhal nudge has done it.
I know you can always count on the narwhal nudge.
Yeah.
I had Alazmat on, and he's like a pro wrestler, or like he's not a pro wrestler, but he is like one for some reason at all times. And people, they say that he might be on cocaine, and I'm like, honestly, looks like he might be. I don't know. But he was like, the narwhal nudge did not come on for me, brother, and that means that you are an enemy for life. And I was like, oh, nice. So you want to be the heel or whatever? So I got to make a response video at some point to Hala's Matt.
Nice.
But I'm like, the nudge. You do not bet against the nudge. The nudge pulls through. Come on. Let me ask you just kind of a random question, but you got a lot going on. And do you have life hacks for time management? Like what's an average day for you? How do you organize it and stuff?
Yeah. So my days, I get up usually I get 6 or 7 with the little guy. And and on any given day, like I'm shooting 2 commercials, and like today, and I'm sneaking this stream in, and that was the agency calling because they need something on a commercial, and I produce TV commercials almost often, and I'm also produced dozens of and directed hundreds of episodes of television. But so I kind of like, it's a maneuvering between it, and like a lot of time begins like when my family goes to bed, my wife and child, like around 10, and then I work from 10 till midnight or 1 and kind of reset the clock. So it's like, it's that. And then I have a post-production company too. So there's a lot of pieces that you're always kind of maneuvering. And what I come to find is really focused work is meaningful, and really unfocused work just wastes your time.
Okay.
Right. So
Yeah.
like, what's really meaningful is if you did 2 really focused hours of work, you could accomplish a lot. Whereas like 8 hours of kind of like milling and checking Facebook, and like you don't almost get anything done.
Yeah.
So I think that's to solve, and to take
So
advantage
do you like not listen to music too? You like sit down, turn off your
yeah,
phone, blah blah blah.
yeah, that's right.
Okay.
And so to find also your creative hours versus your work hours, right? So it's like, if I'm going to write, I'll go out of my house and go to a cafe, or if I'm going to work on something, I'll do it the after hours when it's quiet, nobody's interrupting, right? So like you pick your times to get your head in the right space, and then build
Yeah.
your sleep habits around that. Another way to do it.
Yeah.
But
Cool. Yeah. So we can kind of start wrapping this up. We got the narwhal
yep,
nudge in there, and
all success.
yeah, and I'll just be in touch, Adam, if you need on closeout night. If you got, like, I can be there for you too if you need anything there. It could be, we could do something, yeah, like the creative block kind of thing if it closes on a Thursday or anything. I don't know. But,
Yeah, dude, I would love to do creative block. Let's do it.
yeah, cool. All right. Well, and
I
then
would love to make that happen. Well, thank you everybody for listening in. For those who backed, it's awesome of you. The Kill Journal is going to be a special something. I love this. I love horror comics, and I feel like this one is something that you will remember in the good way, because it has a lot of heart and character in this, violent and both vulnerable world.
yeah. Alex BRB, the narwhal nibble. It is not the narwhal nibble, Alex BRB. I will track you down, and like Allah's Matt, I will destroy you. Okay, so yeah, and then for the closeout again, I'm gonna get some footage of like cars crashing pretty soon here. It's gonna be sweet, but I got nothing yet, so I just click the button and we kind of wave, I guess. But everyone, thanks for being here.